Night drives in the Kruger Park can be exceptionally good or exceptionally bad. As a rough rule of thumb, the more people that are signed up for the drive, the larger the vehicle and the busier the rest camp that you're leaving from, the worse it will be. It hasn't always been my experience, but at the bigger camps, guides are under pressure to deliver big 5 sightings, and this of course stimulates tourists to give bigger tips, and like everyone else, they have a living to make. I've seen birds and snakes run over on more than one occasion in pursuit of big game encounters, and countless small yet fascinating creatures get ignored. The drive that I want to tell you about was not one of those, and it turned out to be one of the most extraordinary I've experienced. 3 of us were staying in a bushveld camp called Sireni, which is the north of the park. Now, bushveld camps are remote. They have fewer facilities, they have neither shops nor restaurants, and are always smaller and quieter. We made our reservation for the night drive and were delighted to find that we were the only guests booked to go on it that evening. Now, shortly before dusk, a pickup arrived driven by our ranger and guide. He was smartly uniformed, but barefoot, and an extremely young-looking Afrikaner. So young that he really didn't look as if he should be out on his own in a game park. And he was short and slight and was only just taller than the rifle that he was putting into the gun rack behind his seat. "What do you want to see?" he said. He wasn't particularly talkative. But we explained that we were, of course, interested in almost everything, but we were birders and we hoped to see some nocturnal birds, maybe coursers or owls, and of course some nightjars. "Okay then, I'll catch you some." Now this prompted raised eyebrows on our behalf, and we guessed that perhaps it was just one of those terms, like we use when we're chatting to other birders, similar to, "Did you get the bird?" Not meaning did you take it away, but did you see it? Anyway, we set off into the dusk as the day shift of wildlife was going off to roost, and the night shift was coming on. Now, the technique used on night drives is to sweep the bush on either side of the vehicle with strong beams and to look for reflected shine of eyes. Using this method, we easily found impala and zebra and 2 spotted eagle owls, as well as some of the smaller nocturnal animals, the most bizarre of these being the spring hare, a hole-dwelling nocturnal rodent that literally bounces through the bush on ridiculously long back legs like a mini kangaroo, and it's certainly, I guess, an example of convergent evolution in action. Nightjars are attracted to roads after dark. Perhaps they enjoy the residual heat, or they find it easier to locate their prey against the clear patch of sky that's distinct from the bush. We had seen several on the dirt road we'd been driving down, but after 4 or 5 miles reached a tar road, and here there were more. "Right, I'll catch you one now. When we get one in the headlights, you keep your light on it, okay? And I will do the same with mine. We're then going to drive up beside it, and I'm going to open my door, reach down and grab it. Okay?" "Sure," we said, while actually thinking, "You must be joking." A pair of glowing red spots appeared in the headlights, and we directed our beams onto them and edged slowly closer. A couple of meters short of it, the bird flew off. "Don't worry, I'll get the next one." And extraordinarily, he did. We edged towards another bird a few hundred meters down the road, followed the same careful approach procedure, and as we got beside it, our guide opened his door, awkwardly transferred his torch from one hand to the other while still managing to keep it trained on his quarry, and then reached down swiftly and picked it up. It was as easy as that. I was really surprised by the bird's reaction. It opened its massive mouth, held it open, and hissed just like a snake. The inside of its gape was bright pink. He passed it carefully and gently to me to look at more closely. It was surprisingly light, soft plumage like an owl, and delicate. It continued to hiss angrily at us. It was fascinating to have the opportunity to examine it carefully, to clearly see the stiff bristles round its mouth, and to be able to identify it with absolute confidence. It was a fiery neck nightjar with a wonderful rufous collar and typical cryptic nightjar plumage. I speculated that the huge open gape and the hissing is an imitation of a snake. A ground nesting and ground roosting bird is vulnerable to small mammals like mongooses, genets, or even rats, and the hissing and open mouth like a snake about to strike maybe gives them the chance to scare off potential predators, or at the very least to create enough hesitation and confusion to give them a chance to escape. We caught another 4 birds that evening. Amongst them 2 Mozambique or square-tailed nightjars as they're now known, and 1 European nightjar. All 3 species reacted the same way to being picked up, and all 5 birds flew off safely into the night when we let them go. It was a rare privilege to have the chance to encounter these strange, almost mythological creatures, and when seeing them up close, it was easier to understand how people in ancient times had thought that they might, with those huge mouths, suck the milk from sleeping goats. It was undoubtedly a memorable evening. We stopped at one point and after a very careful look round, got out of the vehicle and turned on the lights. A magnificent raft of stars stretched across the clear moonless sky, and the sounds of the bush were all around us. We found a leopard, a small herd of elephants, and a pair of lions, but they could not compare with the closest of close encounters with the nightjars. I've never had such a fascinating encounter with the family Caprimulgiformes before, or since, well, except perhaps for the pennant wing nightjar. But that's another story.